Welcome back to Small Talk with Marcus Lee, and we're broadcasting from the Mackinac Policy Conference being hosted by the Detroit Regional Chamber, and I'd like to give a shout out to WWJ News Radio 950 for allowing me to use the remote studio. So they've been very kind, and he would do this for me periodically when I get out of the studio. We get out, and I want to thank Rob Davidic and his team over at WWJ for allowing me to use the on-site studio here. All right, our next guest has been on Small Talk before, Dr. Antoine Garibaldi. He is the president of the University of Detroit Mercy, which was founded, as we all know, probably may not know, but in 1877. It is the largest Catholic university in Michigan, has close to 5,000 students, and since arriving in Detroit 6 years ago in June of 2011, he has led the development and implementation of the University of Detroit Mercy strategic plan, but he's also been instrumental in revitalizing the university and revitalizing the 6 Mile Livernois area. Dr. Garibaldi, good morning. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
So good to see you again.
Great to see you as well.
Absolutely. So I got to share, before we get into our other part of the conversation, I'm a proud moment, a proud dad. My daughter was just recently admitted to the PA program at the University of Detroit Mercy, and you and I were meeting, and I shared that story with you, and you shared with me how difficult it is to get into the program at UOD. And you had some statistics, as I recall.
I do, and we're so happy that your daughter is going to be joining us. Our physician assistant program is probably the most competitive next to the School of Dentistry program. We get more than 500 applications annually for the undergraduate and graduate programs, probably about 200 applicants at the undergraduate level for only 15 spots.
My goodness.
And in the graduate level, 25 applicants, and your daughter will be one of those out of about 300 applicants for those slots there. So fortunately for us, we received approval from the accrediting body for the physician assistant programs nationwide back in February, and those 15 undergraduates will now be 25. And then at the graduate level, we'll move from 25 to 40 students. So over the next 4 years, we'll be able to increase those programs, actually double it by those 4 years. And that's one of the reasons why we built the annex to our College of Health Professions program over the last 8 months. One of those, that program was $3 million that were invested into that program, and it will allow for additional labs and study rooms and also classrooms for the physician assistant and also the nursing program.
Yeah, I think her white coat program is in mid-August.
Mid-August,
so we've already got it on our calendar.
That's right.
And I'll be there as I won't be there as everything else I'm doing. I'll just be there as a proud dad.
Well, I think you're going to be very, very excited. I know your daughter will as well.
Absolutely. All right, so one of the times when we got together, we were talking about the investment in the neighborhood. And at the time you and I met, the announcement was going to be like 10 days or 2 weeks later. And it was a major announcement. The mayor talked about it here at the policy conference. Talk about what's happening at Livernois, as a native Detroit, I have to say Livernois, Livernois as 6 Mile, and UOD's, or University of Detroit Mercy's, UDM's role in that redeveloping that area.
Well, as you said when you began, one of the things that we started out when I started June 1, 2011, was to begin to focus in on the neighborhood, and particularly the area from the Lodge Freeway on Livernois all the way up to 7 Mile, because a great deal of work had been done on the Avenue of Fashion between 7 and 8 Mile. And so one of the first targets was really how can we improve the look of the median that runs right down the middle of Livernois. We didn't have the money to do that through some great support work through the Kresge Foundation and also through the state of Michigan. We were able to obtain about $1 million from the State Department of Transportation and also the Kresge Foundation, and also the university supported that. So that began a conversation with the Kresge Foundation about economic development initiatives, particularly how do we bring back McNichols, how do we bring back Livernois. And so we never anticipated that there would be the bankruptcy in the summer of 2012. But the Kresge Foundation really stayed with us, and we did some survey work. Marygrove College was also a part of that. And we recognized the value of our two institutions in that neighborhood. Others like to say and call us anchor institutions. We're proud of that, and as you said, We've been around since 1877. We have been in that community. The McNichols campus was begun in 1925. So we're celebrating 91 years having been there and never left. And never left to the riots and like others. But this is really a much more comprehensive approach that we have taken. The focus in on placemaking for our Live 6 Alliance, Illinois 6 Mile. Also neighborhood stabilization. Business attraction and retention is the third prong, and then also focus on safety and security. We want to keep the neighbors who are there now in Bagley, in Fitzgerald, in University District, in Martin Park, in Pilgrim Village, in Sherwood Forest, Palmer Park, and Palmer Woods, but in the Detroit Golf Club area. But we have to do a lot more in order to do that. So this is a heavy focus on Illinois 6 Mile, the Fitzgerald project, as the mayor talked about it here at the conference. That's a part of a competitive grant that included Memphis as well as Akron, and also Chicago, Philadelphia are already a part of that. There'll be about $4 million coming from the Knight Foundation for that. The Kresge Foundation is going to match that dollar for dollar. And then there will be some other organizations that will come in that will begin to help us do a lot of those initiatives. So when I say we, I'm talking about the Live 6 Alliance. It is a separate 501c3. I'm the chair of the board, but we also have representatives, Benjamin Kennedy from the Kresge Foundation, Tasha Taboron from J.P. Morgan Chase is also a member of the board. And we've got about 25 other community advisory board members who are really helping us to shape that. So, in an ideal world, the outcome would be a very pretty and active McNichols and Livernois between the Lodge Freeway and also 8 Mile, and bringing back more residents in that neighborhood so that the density, the population would be great. The Fitzgerald neighborhood project fits forward as the two directors of that, the Civic Commons Initiative, will be very instrumental in terms of demolishing maybe 15 to 20 homes, renovating 70 to maybe 100 homes, removing the blight that's there, creating urban gardens, creating a bike path, creating a walking path to
certainly made it much more livable
small park. The kind of place that really becomes a destination area. So you come and you say, this is a nice area of the neighborhood. This is an area that is walkable. There are things that people who come to the neighborhood want. They don't have to drive out into the suburbs or a couple of miles in order to get it. They can actually find it right there.
What is the timing? When do you think? I know, as the mayor referenced, things are starting now. 3 years, 5 years?
I would say 3 years, and I say 3 years, and I don't want to get in trouble with the city, but we're working on this collaboratively as a partner. But there's a timeline for the grant in terms of about 3 years. Obviously, if we could do it sooner, we'd love to do it sooner. But because of the weather during the wintertime, that will hinder some of it. But I think you're going to begin to see some results over the next 6 months or so, with next summer really beginning to be an area where you'll be able to see the beauty of the urban gardens and maybe the removal of some of the properties that are there. But we want the area to really be a stimulus that prospective business owners will come in and say, well, gee, I want to put some residential properties here that will attract more young people and young families to the neighborhood, and also maintain the neighborhood as it currently exists, because those are great housing stocks in that particular neighborhood.
Yeah. We're talking to Dr. Antoine Garibaldi. He is the president of University of Detroit Mercy. Telling about the great things that are happening at the Illinois 6 Mile area, anchored by the University of Detroit Mercy. Urban education. I mean, you're an expert in that area, and certainly some challenge with Detroit public school system. How do we continue to address that issue?
Well, you're absolutely right, and the focus on schools has to continue to be a primary area of focus, because now that we have young people who are coming in as young families, moving in along with their young children, we want to make sure that they stay in the area and don't have to leave in order to obtain public education, private education in other places. Obviously, I'm very hopeful of our new superintendent, Dr. Vitti. has some really wonderful ideas. He recognizes the need to have schools in those particular areas, and the university, certainly with all of our expertise in different areas, can contribute to that growth in the same way that we have all around the city. But I think that that's going to be a critical area. I liked what he said yesterday about the fact that we need to retain the students who are already there in the Detroit Public Schools, begin to attract others who have been sending students outside of the city, and then also bring back that another population of individuals that may have never ever thought about sending their sons or daughters, their children, to the Detroit Public Schools.
One of the challenges, and it's the topic here at the conference, is restoring civility in politics. Some people believe it can be done, with what's going on. Some people said it can be done. How is that being addressed in the university environment? I mean, we've seen some protesting in University of California, Berkeley, and other locations, but how is this civility being addressed on a college campus such as the University of Detroit Mercy?
Well, I think we're very fortunate in that our students come from lots of different backgrounds. Majority of our students come from the state of Michigan. We have a student population probably about 15% black at the undergraduate level.
Still very diverse population.
Diverse, we'd love to be larger, but it's reflective of the immediate area. 6% of our students are also Asian descent and also Hispanic descent, and probably another 5% or more are students from foreign backgrounds. After the election, it was very clear that students were upset for different reasons. They feared what might happen in the country. But in a university environment, it is a place of free expression, and we had some very good, very, very frank conversations on the campus about that, and a way to respect each other's opinions without being disagreeable.
Right.
And then also, recognize the fact that people have other opinions, but you need to listen to someone else's point of view, and then also respond back in a polite kind of way, and then also use that as an opportunity to learn from one another. And as a Catholic university, probably like many Catholic universities, half of our students are Catholics. Many of our students are from other faith traditions, and we have a very diverse population in terms of African American students, Muslim students, as well, and students from India and China and from other countries. So that diversity really is a reflection of what they will find in the real world. Yeah. And so having that dialogue with the faculty, with the students, and others is a great place for the students.
I think the university should be almost like a sanctuary environment too. I mean, people should be able to go there and express their views, like you said, respectfully, and certainly feel safe. And I share that with my students. Many of my listeners know I'm an adjunct as well, as you know that. And I encourage the open dialogue. And I tell my students, you can come here, you can have a conversation, we can respectfully disagree. Right. As part of the educational process.
That's right. Well, I would add too, one of the conversations, I sat through a number of them along with our students and just listened until I got an opportunity to speak. But I said to one of them, to many of them, I said, hopefully this will be a lesson to vote all the time and not just at a presidential election. And I believe that many of them heard that loud and clear, and they said, as an 18-year-old, as a 21-year-old, one of the most important responsibilities I have as a citizen is to vote and let my vote be counted.
Well, we have to leave it right there. I want to thank you for coming in and sharing the good things that are happening at University of Detroit Mercy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Dr. Garibaldi.
Well, thank you very much,
Keep up
Mark.
the great work.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm glad we're going to have your daughter as one of our students.
I look forward to this. I know she does. It's Dr. Antoine Garibaldi, president of University of Detroit Mercy, and I want you to go out and make it a great day, and we will talk to you next time on Small Talk with Mark S. Lee, again, brought to you this week at the Mackinac Policy Conference, and the host is Detroit Regional Chamber.